Christine, how much does it hurt the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out?
It is devastating to the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out.
Now, I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA to be down. And this tweet from Christine Brennan really stuck out to me. She said, one player gets injured and more than half the TV audience for the entire league disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport? Golf without Tiger definitely dropped precipitously on occasion.
After basketball superstar Sue Bird changed her mind about Caitlin Clark, the WNBA went completely insane.
And the truth is the truth, and the data is there. And what we saw when Caitlin was out the last time, the 5 games that she missed earlier in the season, the WNBA's viewership dropped more than 50%. Not just the Fever, but the entire league.
Yes, that's correct. Sue Bird, a former Caitlin admirer, criticized Stephen A. Smith, claiming that the WNBA is doing well without Clark. Caitlin may be moving to Europe, but she is also taking a wonderful break at the moment. Sue also thinks the statistics are still really high, which is untrue.
Injury jumped to her groin likely because of compensation. But the thing that you have to be careful of is if, say, you try to rush her back from this injury as well, then you're getting into this territory where a very serious injury can happen. That is what the Indiana Fever, that is what Caitlin need to avoid the best that they possibly can. So if it means that Caitlin is out for 3 weeks, if it means that she is out all the way through All-Star, then so be it.
Sue appeared to have had enough of Caitlin's defense, as her absence has caused a stir on social media, with fans demanding her return and refusing to watch anymore. WNBA.
Went down. The WNBA ratings have dropped over 55% across the board.
Hey, guess what, guys?
The league is Caitlin Clark.
The league is Caitlin Clark. She is the WNBA, guys.
Sidelined with a left quad strain May 24th, national TV viewership has plunged since then 55%. Before the injury, the Fever, her team, were averaging 1.81 million viewers, almost 2 million. Since her injury, fewer than 850,000.
The facts are clear. Without Caitlin, the WNBA is declining and returning to reality with each game played. Although viewership has decreased without Caitlin, Sue thinks that Caitlin's absence from basketball won't have any negative effects.
Is alarming for the league, and it's alarming for the league because this is such a crucial year for the WNBA. At the end of this season, the WNBA will go into CBA negotiations. If negotiations go well, then every single player in the WNBA has a much better chance of making so much more in their next contract. And that's one thing when you start thinking about how many people stopped watching when Caitlin Clark got injured. A lot of people stopped watching because they are boycotting the WNBA. They don't want to give viewership to any other teams or any other players, whether they like other players on the team or not, because of how the media and the league itself has handled Caitlin Clark and how they have treated her fans.
Rachel Day raised an excellent point. When Caitlin is the face of the sport, WNBA legends don't want it to advance. They would rather start over than face the competition Caitlin brings.
Really concerning about this is the fact that we are only a month into the regular season and Caitlin Clark has already been out with 2 injuries. With the first one being her having to miss some time with a left quad strain. Now, of course, this is concerning because if you're already on your second injury, you don't want to be that player that is always hurt. Cough, cough, Embiid, cough, cough, Anthony Davis. So I really do hope that the Fever really sits her out right now for a while, only because you don't want her to have more long-term injuries and be more prone to.
The WNBA was completely changed by Caitlin Clark's arrival, but as she left the playoffs, it seemed as though the league had lost its soul. With rumors of turmoil in Europe growing, the league may potentially be in serious peril. WNBA legend Sue Bird had nothing but positive things to say about Caitlin Clark at first. In her early remarks, Sue Bird had been a vocal supporter of Clark, believing that she was a player who could improve the game. Sue Bird saw that Caitlin Clark had the potential to completely transform women's basketball and wasn't just another rookie.
Man, bruh. Congratulations to the WNBA. Your ratings are going to drop by 55 to 60% once again. I believe the WNBA have successfully broken Caitlin Clark.
However, things took a surprising turn when Bird started downplaying Clark's impact. This was surprising, especially coming from someone who had previously spoken so highly of Clark. In contrast, Bird seemed to suggest that the league's recent struggles had little to do with Clark's absence. This abrupt change in Bird's viewpoint left many fans perplexed and even incensed. If there is one person who has consistently supported Caitlin Clark, it is Stephen A. Smith, who is known for his bold opinions and unfiltered commentary. Smith has never been one to back down from controversy, and when Clark left the playoffs, he didn't hold back when stating that the postseason excitement had been destroyed by Clark's absence.
As big a deal as Tiger was in men's golf, Keith, he did, and when he was gone, it affected the ratings, but nothing like that. And, Michael Jordan being out, maybe a 5 percentage points or something. Nothing like this. You can make a strong case, and I will make that case, and have that there is no one single athlete more important to his or her sport or tour or whatever the circuit is that they play on than Caitlin Clark is to the WNBA.
Smith emphasized that the WNBA had lost its largest draw as a result of Clark's departure, pointing out that viewership had drastically decreased and that the league needed to acknowledge how crucial she was to their success. Smith's position was more than just a casual remark, it was a call to action. He felt that the WNBA should do more to support players like Clark and maintain the momentum, but Sue Bird wasn't having it. She publicly criticized Stephen A. Smith for his remarks, claiming that he was incorrect to blame Caitlin Clark's absence alone for the drop in playoff viewership. Bird retorted that there were other factors at work and that the excitement surrounding the playoffs wasn't reliant on a single player. Fans and commentators engaged in a contentious argument after Bird refuted Smith's assertions. On the one hand, you had Caitlin Clark, according to Stephen A. Smith, was the main cause of the enthusiasm surrounding the playoffs, but you had an icon in the sport. Sue Bird maintained that the WNBA was greater than any one player, even one with Clark's level of influence.
I don't even know where to begin, man. I hope Caitlin Clark is okay. I want to know when this injury even happened, bro, because let's be serious here. She has the quad injury. Mind you, Caitlin Clark hadn't missed a game since she was like 19 years old, since she was like 18 in college or something. Now she has a groin injury. We've never seen Caitlin Clark play as bad as she played the last 3 games. Let's just be serious here. She's like 1 for 20-something on threes in the last 3. We've never seen her shoot the ball this way. I'll say that. Has she been hurt and playing through this?
Sue Bird continued to challenge Stephen A. Smith after that. She redoubled her efforts to deny that Caitlin Clark's absence was the main reason for the decline in NBA viewership, even as ratings fell after her departure. This refusal to acknowledge the Caitlin Clark effect left many fans frustrated because the numbers didn't lie. Viewership had spiked when Clark was playing and it had dropped significantly when she was no longer on the court, indicating that there were other reasons for the decline that didn't sit well with those who had been closely following the playoffs. Fans noted that the excitement surrounding the games had noticeably decreased following Clark's departure, and it was difficult to ignore the correlation between her departure and the decline in ratings, but despite this, Bird persisted in refusing to give Clark the credit many felt she deserved.
About Caitlin, she's a warrior. She's tough. You hear me? Bruh, you just don't see players. You don't see female basketball players like her. I'm sorry. I done seen a lot of female basketball players, like I said.
As the controversy surrounding Caitlin Clark's influence raged, it became increasingly clear that Bird's refusal to accept Clark's influence left many fans feeling as though the WNBA's veterans were out of touch with the league's current situation. Fans who had once been drawn to the WNBA because of Clark's performances now felt alienated by the very legends they had once admired. The fact that Bird, who was once seen as a mentor to younger players, was now downplaying Clark's significance worried many, as it made them wonder if the WNBA was prepared to change or if it was stuck in the past and unwilling to fully embrace the next generation of stars. One of the most perplexing elements of this whole scenario has been the NBA's unwillingness to acknowledge Caitlin Clark's influence in its entirety. It was evident that Clark was unique as soon as she joined the league.
I believe the physicality and all this hacking and fouling that goes on, she getting blindsided by Marina Mabrey. I think all of this stuff is having a wear and tear and an impact. And all you guys are doing are hurting yourselves, because the numbers are going to drop and drop and drop. And trust me, when it's time for that collective bargaining agreement, they are going to point to this and say, well, how can we give you guys all this money? What happens if she gets hurt?
Her games attracted large crowds despite the fact that her social media presence was unprecedented and her ability to connect with fans set her apart from many of her peers. The WNBA appeared hesitant to fully embrace the Caitlin Clark effect. Whether this was because of internal politics, jealousy from other players, or a simple refusal to acknowledge her star power, the WNBA failed to capitalize on the wave of interest that Clark brought to the league. Instead of promoting her as the league's face, the league seemed content to let her rise on her own without the full support of its promotional machine. This decision would prove costly as the league's viewership numbers started to decline after Clark left the playoff.
Please remember to like, subscribe, and enable all notifications if you have watched